I'm Genevieve Bargello.
And I'm Eileen Wurst.
And this is CFB News. CFB News recently celebrated our 50th anniversary. We held a great gala at the Ballroom of the Widgeon, and the guest of honor was none other than Herbert Barge. Eileen, would you like to fill them all in more about the event?
I certainly would. Herbert Barge, as our guest of honor, came up and actually did one of his most infamous and famous reporting that he did, which was about the beautiful watercolor festival and the fire that happened to it. Though back in the day, CFB News actually did not used to have the beautiful screens. As you can see here, me and Genevieve are next to each other. One of us has had a lot more makeup put on ourselves, so it looks better. Then there's me. And so you can understand how it could be very hard to describe so many colors using just words, but he was able to paint with his words. Literally, he wrote it like he was doing the painting. And so we all were very honored to get to receive and review these same templates over and over again. And actually, I'm very excited. The crew has put together a slideshow of the event, so we will now be going through that and we can explain some of the delightful moments that happened from this dinner. So this first slide is just Herbert Barge. You can see he was wearing a nice navy blue suit. Maybe it could have been tailored a little better, but this isn't the fashion segment.
All right, here you can see on the blue carpet we had, because, you know, CFB News, we have a little blue logo. We thought that'd be cute. We had all of us here. There's me. That's someone who was also there. You don't need to know where they're from, but they are a personal friend of mine. There's Eileen over there, alone by herself, but, you know, maybe that wasn't the case all night, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh. Eric, hi. He's fine. It was fine. It was fine. You know, and maybe I think we should just the next photo. Oh, the parking lot. That's so interesting.
This one. I don't think this one was supposed to go in here.
No,
I don't think this was supposed to go in here.
That's so interesting. If we can zoom in past me and
you don't need to do that.
An unknown staff member who I'm having a business discussion with in the rain, it happens. News happens in weather. You might be able to see. No, it is not an actual kidnapping in process. This is our very own Genevieve Bargello.
Allegedly.
Nestled into the trunk.
Allegedly.
Is that a Prius? Is it a Subaru? I'm not sure.
This is all alleged, so I'm not actually sure what make the car is, because that may or may not be me.
That's so weird. It has a vanity plate that says "fuck Zara." That's so weird. Anyway,
yeah.
Anyway, yeah. But this is also alleged. It's also when I said that was me and a staffer, we actually and Genevieve, right? People didn't know this. We had impersonators going around to 50th anniversary, and budget only had enough for me. And I guess Genevieve as well. So in some of these photos, it's actually fun. It's like, is it us or is it not? And we're here to confirm the news that that's not us. And we're just going to go to the next photo.
Now, was that you kissing Eric?
That is
Our producer is telling us we're running out of time. This has been CFB News.
You know what's metal as hell?
What's metal as hell?
Metal. And you know, metal... Oh!
What's that?
Is that a hammer upon hot metal? Forming that metal into other instruments, tools, and perhaps even art pieces?
I think it might be.
I think we're at the forge.
Hell yeah. It definitely wasn't scissors on a water bottle.
Absolutely not. You know, the forger's got to start somewhere, you know. Anyway, voices aside, I need to leave that personality. We wouldn't have liked her. Me, after 6th grade, I was like, no, we need a retry. Let's try that again. redo in 7th grade. Oh, no, maybe 8th grade. Okay, we're basically there. But yeah, we are talking about the blacksmith, which I will do a quick recap here in a moment. But
yeah, I feel like he's really your baby.
He is. Yes. Yes. I was going to say he's also something else, but I didn't really want to say that because he's not. Look,
were you going to say also my daddy? Was that what you were going to say?
You know, and maybe I was. And then I was like, maybe I should hold back because it's weird because he's fictitious. So I don't know if I need that. But this is now entering Clatfartburg. I'm Elaine.
I'm Felicia.
And we are expanding upon the fictional town of Clatfartburg. If you are a new listener, welcome. I don't know how newbie-friendly this episode will be. I'm actually going to provide as much context and as will Felicia as we can, and we're trying to be better about that. But I will say if you're brand new, you might enjoy actually going to the first episode because this is where the blacksmith first pops up as well.
The blacksmith is a continual character throughout this.
Yes, and some other lore that might be helpful for him is also in that first episode, the Alien Club episode, community college, he also pops up as well. So I think those are like probably the main more plot points he'll like pop in there. But if you feel like still just diving in here we go. Woohoo. So as a reminder for everybody, the blacksmith. When we picture the blacksmith, we are picturing the Skyrim blacksmith Balamund of Riften. Okay, now we all can easily conjure that up. So that's who he is. Yeah. His biggest claim to fame, aside from being a blacksmith, is that he is dancing high profile napkin pioneer Nancy Pankin of Pankin's Napkins.
He is dancing her or
dating? Damn. Dancing with the Pankins. It's a local reality show that never kicked off. Nancy Pankin's parents were professional dancers.
Yeah.
That's how she got really into napkins, actually folding all of their skirts and stuff. Was like folding a napkin. But she doesn't talk about it because that's really fucking boring. So she... but he is, some of those episodes I mentioned, he is part of Alien Club, which is sort of this, you can be really like out about it, but a lot of people in Alien Club tend to keep hush hush about it because they're a little embarrassed
because
by
some people, I think the tagline for it was for spacefarers, space lovers, and future space dwellers.
Yes.
Which gives you the vibe. So it's like some people take it very seriously and roleplay as aliens, and some people are just normal people who are into aliens and space.
Yeah, they're just like, I love Star Wars and I want to eat some Groot potato salad.
Yeah.
You know? Now our blacksmith, in a shocking turn of events,
is
he's Glooby. He dresses up as an alien named Glooby. And this was a deep secret for a long time, but he reached a point with Nancy where he's like, I guess I have to share this. And she had a moment. She had to like take some time to really digest this. It was pretty hard to deal with, but she came around. Yeah. And so, you know, that was a really big thing, but that's like a weird part of him that I haven't really like fully actualized when I think about this blacksmith. So that might be something we get to kind of see. How does this interact with
actualize Glooby?
Right. And then another thing with the blacksmith that's important to know is that he runs Key Club at the Clatfartburg Community College, which is a blacksmith competition where you get a bunch of people, students in this case, and you are given at an event, you're like, okay, you have to forge this dagger with this, and you have this amount of time. It's like Forged in Fire, basically, the show, but like student competition. So he runs that as well. Yeah. So I think those are the big things. Oh, and he and Nancy connected because he made napkin rings for her. So he kind of, I looked up a little bit about blacksmithery before I got bored. And what I gathered is that, I mean, if it's metal, they do it. So you can have a lot of different facets. So based on the range, our blacksmith, and most importantly, he doesn't have a name.
Yes.
He doesn't have a name. And I think one day he will get a name. I get very big Viking kind of vibes, but he doesn't have a name. He's just the blacksmith.
Yeah.
And I think that he must be really good at what he does because he has made napkin rings.
Yes.
I think he's done bigger stuff. And I was thinking maybe something to ground our way through this as we describe his forge. I think it'd be fun if he had an apprentice.
Okay.
And I think it'd be fun if they're working on a big project. And then we can kind of interweave the blacksmith story throughout all of this too. Because I think he's a really interesting character that's popped up a lot, but we haven't really done a deep dive on, and I think there's a lot of wealth there that we can play with.
Of course.
So,
he was a Trout Scout as a child, according to the spreadsheet.
Oh, shit. Now, what if this is where his love of blacksmithery began?
Perhaps.
How does one get into it? He used to bang his fork on the table every day. He loved his mashed potatoes. And then his dad was like, you keep bending all these forks. You gotta go straighten them out. And then he saw on the television, maybe he was watching Disney's Johnny Tremaine.
What?
I think there's blacksmithing, or was that printing press? Same difference. You're beating something into another thing.
Are you referencing the 1957 family/war film Johnny Tremaine?
Yeah. Yeah. There's a really scarring scene in there where he
I'm
burns
looking
his
at this and I'm
hand.
like, of course you fucking watched this as a kid.
Oh, I was like, watch that and then go through all the Davy Crockett films.
I forgot your entire childhood viewing habits were just historical.
Yeah, I didn't really get to know what SpongeBob was, but Liberty Kids, I was there.
I may not have had
Biopics?
SpongeBob, but I did have Johnny Tremaine.
I had Jenny Tremaine. We would go to the library and I get an hour-long VHS bio animated pic thing about like, oh, Sacagawea, she's today's pick. Like, that was my childhood. So
This is why you think everything needs to have such deep lore, because that's the only thing you grew up watching.
oh shit.
I'm just calling them like I see them, you know?
Wow. It's always revealing doing this podcast. You think, oh, there's a shield. It's a stupid town. But no, it's the brain palace being cracked open.
Yeah, and it's like, wow,
And
Felicia
everything comes
really
out.
yearns for themed entertainment venues, huh?
Right? And look, the blacksmith being the Balamond of Riften from Skyrim is it's just a visual, and it has nothing to do with the fact that, yes, that is the blacksmith that I always marry when I play Skyrim, because I am marrying a blacksmith. I do want that shopkeeper money.
Yeah, I
and
like
can
that you
choose-
have a preferred blacksmith.
Look, Riften isn't the snazziest town either. It's the thief town. And I say, I don't care.
Yeah.
We're doing this and we will adopt children and you will watch them while I go on my adventures and stuff. But yeah, that has nothing to do with my preferences at all. So anyway, I think some possibility, whatever. He got into it, now he does it. And I think he's, blacksmiths aren't like super common these days. So I feel like he's probably very easily the only blacksmith probably in like the area.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I would assume. And he's probably...
Do you think he has an artist residency at the fucking retirement community?
Oh my god, I bet he does right now. That'd be really funny.
They've got him in,
Right? But does he... I wonder what he would...
Well, maybe
does he just get free materials? Because he can't really casually move. Or maybe they were like, we want to have a prop of a blacksmith that's so good that it's actually just like, we're making a real Ford.
Yeah, so they have a little blacksmith area that he's working in. Okay, and here's what they do. They send people over there and they watch him forge these amazing materials. And he's just working on like a statue for the place or something like that. But then they'd be like, now come to this side to get the blacksmith's gift for you. And it's a walker.
Because Misty Brook is a senior retirement community
that uses
vibe.
theming and quests to get people over that hump of I'm old, I don't want to do this assistive device.
Yeah, it's like let's make it fun and have silliness and everything. It's like constant like Renaissance Fair vibes, but they have a different theme each year and a different quest kind of. Yeah. So no, I think that makes a lot of sense, and I think he could have a lot of fun with it because maybe he doesn't get to play as much. Maybe his workload's a little tough at that point because he's also trying to do some other basic stuff. But I feel like, I don't know why I keep thinking like he's been working on this one gate for ages, and I don't know what the gate goes to. And there's some kind of pressure with it where, he like wants it to be good, but I feel like this project brings him more stress than necessarily like joy. And maybe once it's done, he'll be like, yeah, I did it. But it's just this gate has been like, he's been working on it for years.
Yeah. Maybe it's to get
imagine.
installed in like a public works project. Like it'll be around for forever and it could almost be like a legacy of kind,
Yeah, it's like maybe, it's like one of his life's work basically.
Yeah.
Because, when you make napkin rings or you make like little stuff here and there, like, I mean, that not to put that down. It's just like, it's gone. You made it. It's gone. Napkin rings, whole bunch in the back, But a gate, that's a lot, especially if you're like one blacksmith, which is why I'm thinking he has to have an apprentice.
Yeah.
Which they used to call strikers.
Ooh.
Got to that part before I got bored. But I like him at Misty Brook. He's doing this little thing. Now, It's funny because I've always imagined the blacksmith is like a little more reserved, but
Yeah.
he seems to have this flair. If he dresses up as an alien, he's got to enjoy the costuming, but he might be, I think he's shy. I don't know how good he is at the
I
acting.
think the glooby is what allows him to really get out of his shell. Because there's a costume.
Like, yeah, and it's so different from him. Because him wearing Renaissance fair is really no different because, I mean, he's a blacksmith.
Yeah.
So it really just, I mean, he already makes himself have a little costume when he does his blacksmithery.
Right.
But of course. And yeah, I think that makes sense. And maybe he also is trying to get people like he's trying to become more personable because also now that he is the boy toy candy toy.
Yeah.
Of Nancy Pankin, who is a very prominent
How
figure.
old is this guy? I'm thinking like early 40s has been my thought.
I think that can work. That can work. Yeah, that's about what I imagine.
Okay.
For
I want to make
Nancy
sure we're
in that
on the
range
same
as
page.
well. Yeah. So I feel like they've got. She is so prominent and well loved in the community. Like, I think she's really good at speaking. This is why people write her in to be the mayor every year. And she's like, I don't want to do it. I'm good at business. And now he's getting invited to these parties and he's trying to get along with her friends. He really is like, they're reaching a point where they're trying to enmesh each other's lives.
Right.
And I think this has become something stressful to him because he's not well spoken. He lets the hammer do the speaking for him.
Yeah.
You know, and when he tried to bring a hammer to a party, he thought, oh, this will be fun. We can talk about this new hammer. And no one really seemed to want to engage with that.
Yeah.
In fact, someone picked it up and started making Thor jokes, and he thought it was really offensive. But everyone laughed, and he, you know, and they dropped the hammer. There's a little dent in it.
Do you think this
It
guy's
wasn't a
seen a
well-made
movie
hammer.
since 2008? Because I think the answer is no.
No, I was wondering, would he be really into Marvel? And I don't want to hate him, so I'm going to go.
I don't think so, but I don't think so. I don't think he's seen a movie
offense.
since 2008.
Yeah, I think, and I'm trying to think, I mean, obviously he loves the sci-fi. I think he's a Trekkie. He's got to be a Trekkie.
Yeah.
I think he's one of those where he can enjoy Star Wars, but Star Trek is really his lane.
Yeah. But like the
I think he's a
old
big
one.
Bacardi fan. If he sees, what's that guy? I always get them mixed up. It's not Ian McKellen. It's the other one. Sir Patrick Stewart. If he sees Sir Patrick Stewart in something, he like thinks about watching it, but it's just like too much. You know, he's too busy. But like he's basically done the thing where he's like, Sir Patrick Stewart is like my hero.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me.
Actually, he's never seen a movie because he watched the Emoji Movie because Sir Patrick Stewart was in it, and then he's quit watching movies ever since.
that he was like, that wasn't worth my time. But you know what? I bet he watches. There's a dumb TV show he's really into. This man has a lot
I'm not
of
saying
secrets.
Quantum Leap is dumb, but I think he watches Quantum Leap.
I don't know what that is.
Okay, so Quantum Leap is a show I've never seen, but the premise sounds incredible. It's about one guy who quantum leaps into the bodies of people throughout history and then experiences like a day in their life.
Okay, that's kind of exciting.
You probably love it. I don't know anything
kind of
about it. I've
exciting.
only heard good things about it, but I do think Quantum Leap is what he would be into.
Okay,
I think
that
it got
makes
rebooted
sense.
recently. I'm talking about the OG.
Oh boy. Yeah, and maybe that's what inspired him to like you know, he keeps slowly being around all of these different.
It's starring Scott Bakula, and it's from 1989.
Whoa!
I forgot it. Sorry.
Well, this tracks.
Yeah.
He must have had an interesting childhood. He must have.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm like, is he the oldest of like 7 kids, or is he like just a middle child of 3? There's just something is.
What makes a glooby? What makes a glooby?
Because he has to have been maybe a little overlooked, but he was okay with it.
This
or
is
something
such a
had
deep character study.
Such
We really let jokes out of the room, and we're just taking a
It's
real hard
gonna
look at this blacksmith.
it all comes around. It all comes around. You have to know
No.
people's flaws to then press those buttons so hard until they cry, and then we're laughing about it.
Yeah.
As the gods
How
of
do we
this
make him
world,
miserable? We got to figure it out.
we got to
So-
figure out what his weak points
What makes
are.
this guy fucking tick? I don't know. As an only child, I'm an advocate for a slightly smaller family because I feel like that space and that time really encourages a glooby.
Yeah. I think we have a classic, really well put together, popular sibling. Mm-hmm. that has done really well, but I'm going to go with it's the younger sibling. I think Blacksmith was older.
Yeah.
Figured it out. Parents were like, oopsie, oopsie, oopsie. Okay, now we can figure out how to do it better with like the younger kid, and they all love each other. It's fine. It's just like the younger kid definitely is like more put together, and like it was basically everything the Blacksmith felt like he couldn't be, but he was like still kind of happy with who he is.
Yeah.
But he's like, you know what? Maybe I'm going to give up my acting dreams I had because I'm just too afraid. I'm too afraid to audition. I'm too afraid to get on the stage. But he always thought about it. You know, it always was in the back of his mind because he has to have some kind of theatrical flair. Yeah. Like maybe he did, they had to do a play badge, an acting badge for Trout Scouts, and he did it, and he's thought about it. And it only happened in 7th grade, but he was like, that was so much fun. But he's just too nervous, and he's kind of like, you know, it's one of those things where sometimes you have a dream. Yeah. And sometimes you let the dream go because you're like, maybe that's not it. Like, I used to want to be an actor. I had to fill out a whole resume for 8th grade. This was 7th grade, actually. This is weird. I'm not giving him my life. This is separately weirdly timed. I promise. But I had to fill out a resume, and I was like, and really the main goal to be an actor was like, I need to be an actor and then kind of like not do well so I can go on Dancing with the Stars. Yeah. That is my goal. I want to be on Dancing with the Stars, and I want to blow everyone away. I want to have a really good trajectory. But then, I guess I also did some acting, and it was cool. But I imagine he was, you know, not that he just wanted to do the acting, but yeah, I think he let that dream go. But he's always wanted to, you know, from the character, when he was the character, he was like, oh my gosh, I'm not Blacksmith. I'm, you know, or he's redacted. I'm not redacted. I'm, you know, whatever. And so maybe even getting into blacksmithery, maybe. Yeah. This is also his identity as well. This is why no one knows his name. He's just the blacksmith.
I think so. I think he likes that kind of mystery about him. He likes that not everybody knows his whole deal. He kind of has made himself a bit of a stereotypical blacksmith so that people don't ask so many questions, you know?
Right.
He doesn't want people to know the complex contours of him as a human.
Oh, I like that.
But he just wants to be known as a blacksmith. Or Glooby.
Or Glooby. And now, I know that was pretty serious. So let's talk about the time that he accidentally lit the first installation on fire of his little stay at Misty Brook. Now, it wasn't his fault.
Yeah.
Wasn't his fault. It was the Apprentice. Mm-hmm. This Apprentice, I just imagine, is like How to Train Your Dragon, one of those twins.
That, or is the Apprentice elderly? You rarely get an elderly apprentice.
Oh, that's
like the premise of a late career Robert De Niro film.
Okay, I think it'd be one of the names I imagine, if this helps, because I'm open to whatever age wise. Hexley kept coming up.
Hexley, okay.
I don't know. It's just like it's a curse, like a hex, but then also an axe. Hexley. I don't know. It just made me laugh. The Hexley to me gears more like if they were the younger chucklehead. Yeah. But if we're going with like an older
I was about to suggest a last name, and then I realized it was from Paul Mall Cop 2, so let's not do that. Because, like, look, Hexley Gundermutt's pretty fucking great.
Oh,
but
that's
from
really
Paul
good.
Mall Cop 2.
God damn.
Unfortunately, and I don't think that's okay for us.
Oh, man. You know what? Fuck. What if, and this could still be an older person, but I'm thinking, like, we could just pull Elijah Pankin into this mess. He's an option, because he's in Key Club.
Oh, that would be the tension. If he
wouldn't it be great?
Let the place on fire?
This would be... So Elijah Pankin is the nephew of Nancy Pankin.
That's right. Nephew, not son, and that's important. That's a big distinction,
yes.
I think.
Yes. Nephew, not son.
So not devastating, but a little, you know?
It's like, and like, that's a pretty, I would say that's a close family on the Pankin side. Yes. Like, they all live in Clatfartburg. They regularly see each other. This isn't like it's Christmas, I now see you once a year kind of thing. So they're very aware of each other. And I don't know if Nancy helped Elijah get this position.
I would assume a little bit.
I think so. I think, you know, and this is a great parallel. I think Elijah Pankin, we used him in the Clatfartburg Community College episode basically to be our playthrough student. Yeah. And I think he's really trying to figure himself out, and I think that he has no spine. I'll be frank. I think he's everyone else in the Pankin I was gonna say army family is like very entrepreneurial. They're very ready to be businessy, and I think
know what
he's
they want to do, and he's just like, I guess I'll be an apprentice for a blacksmith.
He's like, I don't have any talents, so you know, I'm not gay. I can't be a Hardy Boy. I can't.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't know. Okay. Oh, this is so good. Okay. So yeah, we're in Misty Brook. We're, I think maybe they were like, let's put a tent over the forge, which is
That's a
rough
dangerous choice.
Rough choice. And maybe the blacksmith was like, I don't think so. And they're like, it's fire resistant, whatever. It's fine. There's a hole. They have a hole for the little like. I don't know what a forge looks like. I only know from Skyrim. There's like a stone circle, and then there's like a little sitting place where he's like grinding swords and axes and stuff. But I'm sure there's like there's also smelters. But I imagine we're not melting down ore.
Yeah.
So
I don't think there's a supply of
you know what
they put of ore in Clatfartburg.
They put
I can't wait for the Clatfartburg Mines episode.
Oh, you guys just wait.
I like the pizza oven. It's a pizza stove.
It's a pizza oven, yeah, but like, they put it there so it...
Well, I think they had a pizza event of legendary flippinis. They had
legendary flippini.
Legendary flippinis, personal pies, and he made pizzas, and it was like a visiting exotic character.
He had to make pizzas for people, and he came up with the restaurant name, the temporary restaurant name, which was
the Blacksmith didn't do this. Legendary Flippini's another guy.
Oh, this is a whole different guy.
Yeah,
okay.
Legendary
Is this like
Flippini
is this
some guy named Dave?
This is very important to me.
Yeah.
Very important. Is this just a guy who like Ghost Kitchen, like this is literally a thing he does, or was it just for this event?
I think it was
Misty
just
Brook
for this event.
One time. Okay. I needed to know her. I couldn't let that go. That makes sense.
I mean, do you want Legendary Flippini to be a Clatfartburg legend? Because I'd be open to Legendary Flippini and his personal pies being a recurring
I think he's
fixture.
one of those. I think he's one of those guys that just shows up at the occasional fair.
You know what? Maybe what happens is there's a lot of mediocre small businesses for birthday party entertainment that pop up after a Misty Brook Cove event. Because maybe there's something in the contract that you have to come up with the character, but Misty Brook Cove doesn't take the rights to it or something. So you get a lot of like lightly medieval themed birthday party entertainers who do it on the weekends. And that's how Legendary Flippini was born. So Legendary Flippini was coming back for his reunion tour of Misty Brook Cove Kingdom. He was there for 2 weeks, and they set up a little tent with a pizza oven for Legendary Flippini and his personal pies. And that kind of, when they were bringing the Blacksmith and Residence on, one person on the board was like, well, y'all remember Legendary Flippini's tent? Do you think that would work? Because budget's a little tight after the animatronic dinosaur that came back from the dead to haunt the camp this year.
Yeah.
So I think it would be a good idea if maybe we'd cut some savings and said Legendary Flippini has a brother who's a blacksmith, and he's coming in to take over the business for a few months. And the blacksmith doesn't like, when he came in, he didn't like this marring of his character. I was like, I don't want to be connected to Legendary Flippini.
He's like, I'm not in the hospitality industry.
No.
Not,
to be clear, I'm here to bang metal and for y'all to hand out walkers behind the back of the building, you know?
Yeah. I imagine so Flippini, I guess, is
the Legendary Flippini.
Legendary Flippini.
His name's Dave.
I imagine just a gangly man. And he was probably like, it's too hot. My pizzas, my Flippinis are gonna burn. You know? And it was always hard. You never knew if he was talking about his pizzas or his balls when he said that. But he's my Flippinis are on fire. What am I gonna do? My Flippinis are on fire. It's hard. I can't work under these conditions. What am I gonna do? That was his whispering.
Yeah.
One volume. So I imagine there's got to be some sanitation issues if you've got sparks flying.
Okay, I was picturing it as what
Sorry,
excited about? What did you get excited about?
I was just like, are you
gonna have
1, sparks flying?
I was like, are you gonna have a horrible cheating romance where the blacksmith cheats on Nancy Bankin with the legendary Flippini? Okay, to be clear, I was implying that the blacksmith came in once the legendary Flippini moved out, but I love the concept of them being in the building at the same time. That is a much better idea. So thank you.
I thought they had to overlap.
Yeah,
okay,
no, this is much better.
This is beautiful. Okay, so yeah, they're overlapping for this like 2-week phase, whatever. And maybe like how new do we want Elijah to be to this? Maybe he did a little bit, and then there was a break, and then he's coming in a couple days after Flippini and the Blacksmith have had to work together. So he's entering a very tense thing. Now, he shows up not in costume. He's in his little striped polo, maybe, or his, I don't know what Elijah Pankin wears. I imagine him very sweater-based. He's chill. I don't know. But he's not in costume, so the Blacksmith is a little, I don't know. Does he automatically not like Elijah? Does something tip him off, or is he like, no, I'm too awkward to...
I think he respects Elijah. Like, he's trying to respect Elijah, but he kind of feels deep in his heart that this isn't the path for Elijah. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. And you know what? When he sees that, similar to other past lives for himself, that could have been, he sees that Elijah is kind of being dictated by family members to have a thing when maybe he just doesn't have a thing. What if he just goes and works in corporate America?
Wouldn't it be awesome
and that's
if your
fine?
family was pushing you to be a blacksmith? Wouldn't that be sick?
That'd be really cool.
I'd
be like, this is very niche, though.
That's a pretty fun one,
Okay, look, I mean, I will always give a shout out to the blacksmith at Colonial Williamsburg. That was, I don't want to get too wild on this podcast, but
yeah,
I will just say that was the best dumpy I've ever seen in my life, and it changed my life. Was the Colonial Williamsburg.
It's really funny to have that nice of a compliment, but also call it a dumpy at the same time. That's very classy what you've done.
Thank you. I'm a lady. So poor Elijah is like I imagine every tool he holds, he has to use two hands. He's two-handing this hammer.
God, me with my fucking cast iron skillet. It's a nightmare.
They're so heavy.
They're so heavy.
And you're just like when you pick up a really heavy thing and you're suddenly like, my bones are just waiting to crack like meringue.
Yeah.
This could happen at any moment. I feel like Elijah's having a lot of that. It's not necessarily that he's a weakling, but you do have to have some heft,
physical strength.
If you're, and especially like everyone. Again, I know we all know what Ballerman from Riften looks like, but just gotta imagine if this man has been making a huge gate, he's ripped.
Yeah.
He's ripped.
Yeah.
Okay. Why do you think Nancy's into him? It's also his personality. She actually loves him.
Not his personality. He's just fucking
not his personality. Ripped. Oh my gosh, if I just suddenly made that a super shallow relationship,
I would. Devastating.
Oh God, that'd be horrible. That's what happened to his ex.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll come back to that. Okay, so Flippini, maybe Flippini's also trying to get Elijah to become his apprentice.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking there's a drama between the apprentices, and through this he realizes he's actually quite a skilled pizza maker. He's really got like some skill for the pizza.
It's gonna end, whatever this end game is, we're gonna have Pankin's pizzas.
Yes. Pankin's pizzas. Pankin's personal pan pizzas. Okay, so
we've created this web.
There's a moment at the end where a wrench is flying through the air and a pizza's about to fall on the floor. And what does he pick? And he naturally goes underneath the pizza and grabs it. And the Grateful Feeding goes, my God, I haven't seen such good instinct since I left New York.
The blacksmith is like,
son, you found your calling. Go.
Trust me, I know dropping that wrench wasn't, and he's been working up for a long time. He doesn't get to say jokes often. Okay, he's worked up a really long time to get to say this. He's like, it's a little heart-wrenching that you've chosen this path, but that's just me, and I'm actually pretty proud of you, and I think that you should tell your aunt this, because I think you're scared of her. And look, I'm scared of her too. But in like a fun way, it's a healthy way. But I think you just need to follow your path, man. He doesn't say that, but
yeah,
the whole like encouraging thing. Oh, this is so good. Okay. So going back a little bit in time, I think that, Elijah, he causes the fire. He has to be the one who causes the fire. And I imagine maybe he accidentally, instead of grabbing,
he's watching. He's supposed to be mimicking the fire, but he's watching the mozzarella spreading process so intently. It's like a hypnotism to him, the way it goes and spirals around. It's like hypnotizing, and that really I was hypnotized by the mozzarella spirals. I didn't mean to do it. So he's watching the pizza be made, and it's so enthralling and mesmerizing to him that he does something that would cause a fire. He's got the
hot tongs, and he drops them, and they touch the curtain of the tent because he's not starting where he's supposed to be. And then he's just like smelling. He's like, oh, it smells so good, the mozzarella. He's like, what's that? And our little blacksmith over is just like clang, clang, clang. He's making a walker that has nothing but griffins on it.
Yeah,
hard request, but he has to do it. Well, they get it for free. That's a pretty sick free thing to get, but he gets paid for it at least. But then his little blacksmith senses are tingling. He's like, my iron tongs have touched something that was wrong. And then Elijah goes, oh, gosh. Basically, I think Flippini basically, like, not his finest moment, but he does shove Elijah out of the way to save his pizza.
Yeah.
He's like pulling his pizzas out of the oven and gathering all his ingredients. And the blacksmith's also like, oh gosh, we gotta, save the smelt, I don't know, blacksmith stuff. And Elijah's just going back and forth, but he's watching all the beautiful mozzarella just like falling to the ground. And he's watching Flippini flip out.
And he feels something in the back of his head, and he thinks, I think a pizza's about to touch the floor. And he runs over and grabs it. And they have a conversation later where he's like, hey, blacksmith, how did you know that the place was on fire? And he's like, well, when you're in this business for long enough and it's something you really care about, you discover something. I call them my blacksmith senses. He was like, I think you got a sense of your own. You got the pizza sense. Because you could just know if a pizza's about to touch the floor. He's like, you're right. I think I do. I have the pizza sense. That's my least favorite M. Night Shyamalan movie, for the record, The Pizza Sense. We all have 8 senses. How many senses do we have? 5 senses. My 6th sense is my pizza.
We all have 8 senses. Sense and sensibility are the other 2. And maybe the blacksmith, like, he has that moment, but I think in the moment he's gonna snap, but it's more out of like safety, we gotta go. But I imagine Elijah's a little bit of a sensitive soul.
Yeah.
And so he goes to his favorite spot. It's the top of a hill, and it's a full moon that night. And as he sits there, he's trying to think of like, okay, what are the things, how I need to remember, how do I like bend metal to do rings and stuff? But then as he looks at the moon, all of a sudden he just hears a choir in his head going, when the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's Flippini.
That's Flippini.
And then he's just like, he can't stop thinking about it. He sees pizza everywhere he goes.
And then on the other side of the hill is the blacksmith looking up at the full moon, because he's like, what if they really are out there? Sometimes all my life feels pointless, and it's gonna sometimes be really hard, to want to do everything every morning. I'm gonna have to go back and bring a whole new pizza stone / fire blacksmith object. And it's really exhausting sometimes, and I wish life just wasn't so challenging sometimes. And I gotta remind myself that if there are aliens out there, if there is intelligent life, they probably have shitty days just like me.
There's 2 emotional hills in Clatfartburg.
And on the second hill is Nancy Pankin, and she's saying, I don't understand why my boyfriend's so into alien shit, and I want to get it, so I'm just gonna look at this movie until I get it.
If Elijah's on a hill, and then we got Blacksmith's
on the other side of the hill, same hill.
Oh, same hill. Oh, other side. Okay, and then there's a totally different hill.
There's a totally different
second hill.
On one side,
it's the woman empowerment hill. But when you have a moment, but you need to still be
on one side is Nancy Pankin, and she's trying to understand why her boyfriend loves the moon and aliens so much. And on the other side is the legendary Flippini going, how did I see a man with such natural pizza talent today? It really makes me think maybe the kids are gonna take over. Maybe my life's in shambles. But at least this moon is here when the moon hits your eye.
So really what Elijah is actually hearing is the faint, distinct echoes of Flippini actually just singing this fucking...
Yeah, because the hills are right next to each other. And then the blacksmith looks to his left and he goes, Nancy?
Oh my god, this is so beautiful. Oh my god. Okay, so Elijah has this journey and he's gonna go into pizza making. And so, I think Blacksmith kind of stands behind, helps him like as a presence when he goes to tell Nancy.
Yeah.
And look, Nancy's like, if that's your passion, go for it. It's tough because maybe everybody in the family really looks down on like food as like the work. It's like, napkins. It's maybe there's tablecloths, cutlery, I don't know, other things people are doing.
Venturing when no pankin has ventured before into the world of dining, not dining accessories.
Dining accessories.
The dining accessory empire of the pankins.
Yeah. This will be good. So the blacksmith does that. Back at his regular forge, these gates he's building.
Yes.
I think we're ready to dive into the gates. Now, a couple of options. One, canonically, according to our cover art, there is a bridge.
Yes.
So this could be like the big gates, to the bridge, but they would just be decorative. And I don't know if these gates, are they ever going to actually open? But then it's like, okay, this seems like this would go in front of
but I thought this was too referential. The one gate in the Clatfartburg. Oh, is that in the cemetery or just in the park? That
the cemetery that they like
Crispin,
step over.
And Barnacle Crispin is like the gate opens on its own, but the gate must decide to move. It must consent to move. It was something weird.
Yeah.
I think that might be too self-referential, and I think he deserves a better gate than the cemetery gate.
Maybe it was like, and then I was thinking like, maybe it's to like the mayor's house. Maybe the mayor like,
I feel like it should be like a
really
public
nice.
works area, like something that like everyone could see, like maybe just a park
to the lake.
To the lake. They want to gate to the lake.
I had a wake at the lake, and the gate to the lake was built on that waking day.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so he's been working on this for ages. And Elijah helped him a bit, but mostly was actually super unhelpful. So
yeah.
I think he's crafted the final piece. And he's ready to put up these gates. But
maybe the gate looks like a lake a little bit. Like there's a little bit of an underwater scene where you have some fish. And some seaweed. And then it kind of, there's some clouds. It's subtle. But you can see a lake in there if you look, which would increase the complexity.
It's so interesting because there is a few mermaids. They have tops on, though. He's bashful. He didn't want to do a topless mermaid.
That's fair.
But it's so interesting. One of them has the same little flow in the hair, the same little shape of the nose of one is Nancy Pankin. So she is eternalized.
Everybody play the Sunday in the Park with George soundtrack right now. Thank you. Just put in the whole musical right here in your head. I have nothing to say. So do you, George. Damn it.
This is funny. It's playing by me soon, actually. And I was telling my friends, I was like, we should go. And they were like, oh, really? What do you know about it? I'm like, nothing. Just I know that Felicia loves it. And so I trust her recommendation.
It's
we should
so
just go.
Good.
Okay,
it's
cool.
Experimental in the second act. The plot. Okay, the best way I can describe it, this is my pitch, is it so eschews a traditional musical because the plot is about healing generational trauma. And it does so very literally. That's how I describe it.
Ooh, really cool.
Yeah, that's the way I sell it because the characters don't get resolved, but the themes do, if that makes sense. So you leave it feeling amazing.
So this is really happening at our gate scene right now, really, if you think about it. What if the blacksmith has interwoven his whole life story into these gates?
Into these gates. And you look at it and you're like, why is that fish spinning a pizza? And it's like, that was a trying time for him.
Those 2 weeks really left a fucking impact on him. And now he was like, I need to add this
Why
in
is
now.
that one wearing... Why are those two fish doing the foxtrot? Well, that's because of his Dancing with the Stars dreams he had at 8 years in 8th grade.
Why? There's bent forks he's made into flowers, harkening back to his youth.
Yeah.
Obviously, little alien stuff here and there. And I think, it's one of those things where it's big enough, people aren't noticing it.
You know what's really fascinating about this? Because people don't look into it. And it's interesting because the blacksmith hides so much of himself, but he really put it all out there on this gate. This is the way he wants people to understand him and know him, even though he keeps himself hidden away. the art doesn't lie. And this is actually really Sunday in the Park with George a lot. By accident.
No one knows this, and it can probably never be decoded. But in the way he's designed this, he's written his name in the gate.
Wow. Wow. Does Nancy know his name?
Okay, now this is something I've actually wanted to discuss.
Yeah.
This is some good stuff I'm thinking about. I think
Nancy has to, right? I mean,
I think she has to, or I think this is when he tells her.
Yeah.
It's going to be, they go back to the hill, the crisis emotional hill.
Yeah.
Nancy and the blacksmith are stargazing.
Yeah.
And
because she's really started to like it now that she's been trying to understand what he likes so much about the sky and space. And she's like, I'm starting to get it, I think.
Yeah. You know, and it's sometimes he doesn't mind because sometimes he needs a stress cigarette. That's how Nancy rolls, okay? So maybe it's been a stressful day, and she's just been venting about her day, and the blacksmith is just kind of like, you know, he's listening, but he's taking it all, and he's like, I love this woman. And then he realized that to love someone, you must name that emotion. And to name that emotion, one must have a name. Because I love you, blacksmith. He's always had this exterior. He's always had this character.
You have to
I
let
love you,
someone
Glooby.
in.
You know, you have to. And he was like, he could finally let somebody in. And, you know, it's never been that he's embarrassed by his name. He's just always been afraid. But he is finally ready. He's reached this point where he is seeing Nancy Pankin smoking on the ground. Things she would never let other people see. Her shirt is untucked. Like, you know, there's a little stain in the corner. You know, it's just like, she's like a mess, you know, in her eyes. And then he's like, Nancy, there's something I would like to tell you. She's like, are you in another club? It's fine. I'm just, you know, and I'm ready to listen. I just, you just got into Glooby. You know, I'm Gloobette now, and we have fun with that. But no, go ahead. And he leans in, and he whispers his name. He goes, my name is...
And then on the other side of the hill, you hear the legendary Flippini screaming to the moon. I thought artichokes and anchovies would work together, but fuck me, I guess. I guess we can't all be fucking winners, huh? I thought it would work, but it was like too much acid. Like, it was too much of the acidity together.
It's too much ass.
It was too much ass. It was just too much ass. And I fucking hate it.
He's trying to make the first Flippini butt pizza. It's like two calzones put together.
I think it's innovative and it'll work, but it was too much ass. Meanwhile, this fucking young upstart starting up down the street called fucking Pankins, personal I forgot.
Flippini's just losing it. Flippini has flipped his table. Flippini, when he and when Flippini loses it, he starts cartwheeling.
Yeah.
He stress cartwheels.
Cartwheeling in circles. Fucking pancakes, personal pan pizza. I hate this kid, and I can't deal with him anymore.
Meanwhile, on the other hill, Elisha, he looks down and goes, I knew I could do it. I knew I could get artichokes and anchovies to work together, finally. I've broken the code.
And I made a really innovative boob pizza.
In honor of Women's Month.
In honor of Women's History Month.
Pizza. My aunt's going to be so proud of me. He's like, it has chicken in it. He's like, would you like the chicken breast pizza?
Nancy only lets him sell it once he agrees to donate all the proceeds to breast cancer awareness.
Yeah. She's like, I don't want to, like, you know, stop you seem actually alive for once. You've just been this frail, empty shell for so long.
I'm not super happy your passion has resulted in boob pizza, but
yeah, it's like
we work with what we can.
You are, like, almost done graduating college, and I would really hope we'd move past this humor. He's like, but, you know,
it's not humor. I'm trying to show the plight of women in my boob pizza.
Renaissance art shows naked women all the time. It's the beautiful form. That's what I was just doing, you know? I form these myself. I don't, you know, I haven't, Look, I haven't touched a boob before, okay? Get off my back. Oh, God.
It's a work of imagination. Does that make it better?
Doesn't make it better. Look, I didn't even make them even.
Realism.
It's realism, right? And I thought the single pepperoni was really, really fun.
I thought it was tasteful.
Yeah. Do you want to try the boob pizza?
It's just a normal pizza with a single pepperoni in the middle. Like it's really not that crazy.
It's really, yeah, it's not too wild.
But it's served in a set of 2 small ones.
Now, it tastes delicious.
Because he's fucking great at making pizza.
Tastes delicious. And so, yeah, he moves on. And he will be forever haunted by the time he did make boob pizza. That will come back multiple times. But he doesn't,
when he's not 20, that'll really
when he's not 20. Honestly, that's even one of those ones where like 6 months later you go, you know, because
I think I'm gonna go like that about suggesting boob pizza as a topic.
No, this. I mean, it started with butts, we moved to boobs, and here we are. Yeah, 6 months.
It couldn't have been avoided. Thank you.
It's really fun when we that the fact that our creative stuff is recorded forever, and then sometimes I hear myself because we go back and listen sometimes, as we were wont to do. It's like listening to Friendship Time again, and I go, wow, I should never talk again.
Yeah,
happens a lot to me.
Yes.
So, but it's fine. It's fine. We have boobs and butts, pizza, and then there's a hot dog stand.
Pizza subplot.
I didn't either. Who would have thought? The blacksmith would lead us to pizza.
You have the blacksmith. I have the legendary Flippini who does cartwheels and screams at the sky.
And Elijah found his calling.
Yeah.
You know, this is so good. And I am wondering, you know, as our kind of like epilogue wandering off, we tend to come back to these characters. They're fun. And Flippini will most certainly be coming back.
Oh, yes.
But I'm debating, like, do the blacksmith and Nancy, does he propose to her at some point? Because, like, I
feel like they're there. I feel like we're there.
I think they could do it. I didn't want to necessarily do it in this episode because she just learned his name.
Yeah. Maybe not today, but I think soon. I mean, he did also help her. We did a bonus episode about Pancakes Napkins versus La Marque Rouge. And the feud, and he helped her a lot through that. I don't really remember what he did.
He made a lock to put on La Marque Rouge so they couldn't enter, I think, the cabaret. I think he literally locked them out.
From their own building, which is kind of
I need to go back and listen to that. That was a fever dream.
Yeah.
That was a wild time. La Marque Rouge is an artisanal ketchup store. Also,
they had a cabaret open across the street from Nancy Pankin, and she hates them.
Yeah. So
for many reasons. And their feud is explained in the first episode of the podcast. So
look at that.
There you go.
But yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, yum. Okay. So maybe down the road we have a proposal or we have a wedding. Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, I was thinking, I was like, you know what? I could see them actually really digging marriage.
I think so.
I see them being marriage people. I think Nancy was like, it wasn't something on her checklist. She's like, I have to get married, but I think she's like not against it. So I see this being really.
And the blacksmith can make his own little rings for them. You gotta do it. So do you think he proposes with a napkin ring? And she goes, "This one's too small to fit on a napkin." And he says, "I know. It's meant to fit on a pankin."
That's so cute. That's so cute. It's like, honestly, it's either that beautiful moment or he hides the ring in the boob pizza. It's a little nipple piercing, but no, it's a ring. That's how Elijah proposes to his partner. This is he's like really drunk. He's 20. He's like, I'm in love with her. She's my life. And she's like, no. And then he's like, I can never make boob pizza again. And it's not realizing boob pizza is immature. It's that moment that makes me go, I can
the failed
never
proposal.
do boob pizza. The failed proposal of Elijah
he did when
Pankin.
He was 20. And that's what ruined boob pizza for him.
And Hannah Decoupage is, you know.
And he realized, well, if I take the nipples off, then it's ball pizza. And he still serves ball pizza to this day.
He was taking anatomy class at the time. And it was helping him
very
study.
Scientific.
Very scientific. It helped him study. Yeah, and I'd like to imagine maybe like he and Flippini occasionally like help out each other, but maybe Flippini becomes more of a traveling pizza man, not just around Clatfartburg. He starts hopping around to all the other fairs and stuff. So he comes back.
He says to Flippini's insecure about this new upstart. He's like, well, I may be good at making pizza, but I'm not a legend, you know? And legendary Flippini goes, that's right.
That's right. I decided to get an Italian accent suddenly. Last time you talked to me, I was from maybe New York, but now I am from Venice, as they call Venice.
He's trying to do a different performance for going around town. This is a really bad accent because I can't do it, but
It's a very also this is a good point to tell our 5 European listeners out there.
we're sorry again.
Oh, bon appetit. Bye. Sorry. Well, pizza and metalwork really can go hand in hand.
Yeah.
And
ever thought about a pizza cutter?
Oh, what if Blacksmith makes him his whole nice little kitchenware set? And they're all his little perfect.
And they're so heavy, and Elijah Pancake can't even lift them.
He's like, oh, my little arms. But he put Pankin's pizza initials, which is just PP, which is maybe that's where he's like, I can get rid of boobs because my initial
PP
name.
Pizza.
The PP Pizza. The
Well,
PP Hut.
and remember, the full name is Pankin's Personal Pan Pizzas, which means it's PPPP.
PP.
You going to PPPP for dinner?
Hey, let's go to PPPPs. Peep. He has a little bird in a car as his logo. Peep.
That's so cute. That's actually really cute.
That's actually adorable. Wait.
And the wheels
Oh my
are
gosh.
pizzas.
Someone please draw that. Please draw that and send it to us. I'm commissioning this.
PPPP. PPPP.
Well, this has really fulfilled my heart. I really love the journey of this.
Yeah.
We learned more about the blacksmith, and I was very curious to see how, this forge, how it fits into the town. And I think it really just went to show that, sure, metal works, but so does the heart. And I think the blacksmith is maybe the grounded heart sometimes that can help guide some of our other characters around.
He's a real moral center.
He really is, and he really is helping out the youth, I would say.
Yeah.
So it's very heartening to see that, and he and Nancy are continuing to have a beautiful relationship. And to, dabble with Elijah again, who's really a nothing burger if you think about it, but we did learn that
now
he
he's a
loves
pizza.
boobs. Now he has pizza. He has a thing now. That's so
He's the
exciting.
pizza
And we
guy.
got the legendary Flippini. So that's I think that covers most of it. I was trying to do a baby
think so.
recap.
Yeah, I
but
think we did
I
it.
think we did it.
Well, thank you, everybody, for listening to this storied episode of Clatfartburg. We've really tied up... Well, actually, we haven't really tied anything up. We actually just opened a bunch of doors, which is what we normally do.
A gate?
A gate!
We opened a gate?
We opened a gate. If you enjoyed this podcast, tell a friend. Let them know. Give them an intro. Tell them, recommend an episode you think they'll like. That could be fun. And you can always email us any headcanons or thoughts you have about the podcast, so episode suggestions at clatfartburg@gmail.com. And if you want more content from us, we post stuff on our Buy Me a Coffee, which you can get to at clatfartburg.com. We do things over there. We have a little membership. We did also get a new member this week. We got Nadia. So thank you so much, Nadia. Hope you enjoy all the beautiful content we try and put out there. We just recorded a commentary track for a movie called The Beast Must Die, which was an interactive werewolf mystery film, which we were not good at figuring out. And that was a listener suggestion. So if there's a movie you really want us to watch and talk over, that's open to you.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for visiting the town of Clatfartburg. And just make sure that when you're eating a pizza, you know what anatomy it's shaped after. Because if you're going to eat ass, make sure you know you're eating. Cut me off.
I would normally add something, but I think I just want to let that sit.
No. 6 months later, regrets.
Bye!
Bye.